Hey there, the Japan Code here, and it's been a while. At first I was gonna make a 18 months update. I think that's what I said in the previous video. But then I got to the 18 months and I was like, nah. I mean, you'll see why when I get into where I was at that point, but like, nah, I'll wait till 2 years. Then I got to 2 years and I was like, I don't feel like doing it. There's a lot to talk about and I'm feeling lazy. I'd rather just immerse, so I just didn't do it. But now I'm actually like, I'll get into the reasons why in that video, but I'm going to be doing some like, I don't know what I'm going to call it yet, but like weekly immersion update video where I like kind of talk about what I've been immersing with that week. And I figured like, oh, I'm going to just give like a little bullet point recap at the beginning saying what's happened in the past year. And then as I was writing that bullet point list, I was like, there's way too many things to talk about. So here I am making an actual 2 year, 4 months update, as random as that is. I guess 2 years is 24 plus 4 months. I guess that's 28 months by now. I'm looking there because I have my notepad with the things on the computer because there's no way I can do this from memory. Like it's not a script or anything, but there's clearly it's not a script, or else I would be doing I would be doing way better than this. Where was I? So yeah, I'm gonna try to have this not be like a 30 minutes video, hopefully like 15, 20 minutes, but yeah, so because I know there's definitely eventually gonna be people who are gonna see this video who haven't seen the previous ones, I'm just gonna give an actual like bullet point recap of what happened in the first year, and then I'll get into what's happened since then. So, well, first on January 10th, 2018, that's when I started doing MIA, the Mass Immersion Approach. Obviously, as a lot of you know, it wasn't called that back then, but yeah, it was basically that. And so I was doing RTK. Then on March 28th of 2018, I finished RTK 1, Remembering the Kanji 1. And of course, I was doing it the original vanilla way at the time of... having the keyword and then writing it by hand from memory. Then on May 18th, I finished RTK 3, so that means about 3,000 kanji, and I started doing Take Him. And then a couple of months later, on August 24th, that's when I finished doing Take Him. That got me like 750-ish sentences. And yeah, so 2 days later, on August 26th, that's when I started doing sentence mining, and at the time, the way I was doing the sentence mining was I had made a subs to SRS deck of an anime, or specifically it was a non Biori, and I was just going card by card, one at a time, just looking at them quickly, or listening to them quickly, and being, is that I+1? No. Next. Is that I+1? No. Next. Is that I+1? Yes, that one is I+1. I'm saying I+1 out of habit. I know now it's called 1T, but it means the same thing. It's just that one's more for AJAT, one's the term for MIA. But yeah. So yeah, I was just going manually and finding sentences and then making cards from it. Manually from subs to SRS cards. Then in early October 2018 is when I stopped doing reps for RTK. I just deleted the deck. If you want to know why, you can go back in the old videos and watch those, but basically it was painful to do, and it's not recommended anymore to do it in that way, in that method. Then a month later, in early November, I stopped reviewing Take Him. That wasn't paid for or anything. It's just, you know how now there's like the retirement add-on, so that was basically that, but I just manually turned them off because they were all, pretty well off. Then a month later, in early December, that time I changed how I mined sentences. Now, at that point, how I was doing it is basically like I was watching anime or whatever. And then I had Jisho on the side, and I was just looking up words that popped up to me. And then when one of them, like I was like, hey, I've definitely heard this before. Then I'd take note of it, and then after that I'd go in my sentence bank and look for I+1 sentence with that word in it. And yeah, again, I'm trying to go quickly through it, so if you want more details, just go back to the old videos. Then Then on January 2nd of 2019, just a couple days before the 1 year mark, I started doing the monolingual transition, where you're looking up words in Japanese to make cards, and then the words in the definition that you don't know, you look those up in English. Did that for a couple of months. Now we're into the stuff that if you only watch my videos, you don't know about. If you follow me on Twitter, you probably know most of this. But yeah. And then a couple of months later, I didn't take any notes on dates, but like somewhere in mid-April, I would say, I'd say I had finished the monolingual transition. Like, it's not like I reached a point and it's like, oh, I know every definition word. Clearly not. I still don't know all of them, and I, don't want to say I never will, but like, you never know every single word, right? But I got to the point where I can generally always, like if there's a word in the definition I don't know, I can look that one up and then I'll be fine. Like in Japanese, and then I'll be fine. So like I'll make all the cards in Japanese, not a single card in English. So that was like I want to say mid to late April. And then when I reached that point, I was like, okay, I'm going to start reading my first light novel. So, and this is important, I forced myself to read my first light novel. So I was basically actually like forcing myself to read for an hour a day on work days, and then 2 hours a day on days where I didn't work. And that led to quite a downfall. But it wasn't just that. There was like a couple of other things going on, and I don't even know like for sure what started it, but this was obviously a big thing, because at the time I still had it in my mind that one, I was just banning all English. It had to be Japanese, and if not, I shouldn't be doing it. And of course I was still doing some stuff in Japanese, so I always felt guilty, which is obviously not good. And I also had the mindset of I'm gonna use light novels as an example, and like light novels is harder than manga, so I should stop reading manga, even if that's what I feel like doing, and read only light novels. So I was like forcing myself to be efficient. I'll get back to that later, but basically in early May, in the first half of May somewhere, I just completely fell off the wagon from Japanese for like 2 months, where I didn't do any Japanese. And as much as I don't like talking about that, because obviously it sucks to talk about a period where you weren't doing well, but from the start I've wanted these videos to like show what the experience really is, so I will talk about it. Basically, so okay, I was on vacation. Like I didn't go on vacation, but I was like off from work for 2 weeks, and I don't remember how it started, but I started like watching English videos about the Elder Scrolls game series. And eventually I was like, it's strange. I love Oblivion and Skyrim, the 4th and 5th game. I've spent like hundreds and hundreds of hours on both, like each of these games. Not in total, but each of these games. And I was like, you know what? I've never played Morrowind. I have it because I have the Elder Scrolls Anthology, but I've never played it. And by longtime fans, it's often regarded as potentially the best Elder Scrolls game. So I was like, okay, I'm on vacation. What I'm going to do is, from the moment I get up till like 12 in the morning, 12, at lunchtime, I focus on Japanese, and I get up at like 4 in the morning usually. So, that was a good chunk of time. And then after that in the afternoon, to relax, I'm going to play Morrowind and, get to experience the game, because I really wanted to play it. And that worked for like 3 days, I think, where I did a lot of Japanese in the morning, and then in the afternoon I just played Morrowind. But then on the 4th day, it wasn't like a gradual decline. It just instantly nothing. I did Anki reviews, and then went straight to Morrowind and played for like 14 hours. And it wasn't just one day. It was for the rest of my 2-week vacation where I did that. And then I got back to work, and for a week I was still doing that. I'd get up in the morning, do my Anki reviews, no new cards of course, just the reviews, and then I'd play Morrowind until I had to leave for work, then I'd go for work, then I'd come back home and play Morrowind until it was time for bed. In total I played for about 3 weeks, and I put in like, I don't know, like 100 to 150 hours in the game. I think I don't remember by heart, and I sure as hell didn't calculate beforehand. And I'm not gonna be doing that now. And I was like, no, there's got to stop, because like as much as I was enjoying the game, it started being more painful than anything. Because I always had that voice that was like, you got to do Japanese, don't give up Japanese. And then I was feeling guilty, and there was a lot of negative emotions. So what ended up happening is that I made a compromise with myself. It was a shitty compromise, but at the time it felt. It felt like it was a good compromise. I like rationalized it. Is that the word? Rationalized? No, I don't think that's the word. Is it?
2 hours later.
Yeah, that's the word. Okay. Attempt to explain or justify one's own. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Yeah. So, okay, sorry about that. So I rationalized with myself that what I was gonna do is I was gonna stop playing Morrowind and replace it with RuneScape. Now, I know that sounds completely stupid, and it is completely stupid, but hear me out here. If you know anything about how I learned English, basically, like I got like a little basics from school. It was basically the equivalent of like doing Takim, essentially. And then after that, it was 100% through playing RuneScape in English and watching English YouTube videos. So that's how I learned English unintentionally, just by wanting to do things only available in English. So I was like, why don't I take this and play RuneScape while doing Japanese? Now the thing with RuneScape is that you can play it very AFK. Like there's a lot of things you can do to progress that you only have to click like once every minute or even once every 5 minutes just to make sure you don't log out by the automatic logout timer. So I was like, just do that, have that on the side, and do Japanese on the other screen, and that way I'll get the sense of achievement and accomplishment that you get from playing games like that, while also progressing in Japanese. So in theory, that was my plan, and it was it was gonna work. And it worked for a couple of days again, just like Morrowind, but it didn't take long that it just right away just back to zero. And at that point, I actually broke my Anki streak. It was at I wrote it somewhere here. Yeah, it was at 534 day, a 534 day streak right down the drain just because of that. And as of today, I'm only back up to 274. So it's gonna take a while to reach it back. But I guess the silver lining is that now I don't care so much about the number. So I do it for the sake of doing the reps, not for the sake of keeping the streak, because I've already broken the streak, so it doesn't matter as much. So yeah, this the whole Morrowind thing and the RuneScape thing both combined together. It lasted about 2 months. So from like early May till early to mid July, something like that. And then at some point, just something like clicked in my head, and it was just like, what am I doing? I'm wasting my time. I'm not even enjoying playing the game, because I'm always having in the back of my mind that I don't want to quit Japanese again, and that I want to keep going. And like I just wasn't actually enjoying the game either. It was just I was playing for the sake of seeing the numbers grow and all that stuff. And the thing about another thing about RuneScape is that I used to be like extremely addicted to it. Like on a school day, I'd be playing 6 to 8 hours somehow. I don't even know how. I was like sleeping 4 hours a night or something like that. As a teen, I had horrible sleep. I mean, I still do, but I really do. But at least I sleep. Like I go in bed for a good amount of time. Like I give myself 8 to 9 hours to sleep, even if I don't always end up sleeping that whole time. But at least I'm in bed. Whereas then I was like only going in bed for like 4 hours. Anyways, so I had quit because I was addicted, basically. So the addiction just came right back. Took 3 days and then it was back, and then it was even worse in a way because like so much changed in the game. Like I haven't played in like 8 years or something like that, so there was a lot of new things, and it just came like stronger than it was before. At some point, it's just like, am I really willing to give up Japanese just to play this game that I quit because I was addicted? And it just clicked, and I was like, no, I don't want that. So I quit, and got back to Japanese. But of course, it wasn't that simple. The pull was still there, and I went back a couple of times and dropped it after a couple of days, and there was a bit of back and forth. But after a month, I was like fully back on track as far as like putting time towards Japanese, so it had my attention. Even though I had after that for like I don't know, until like December, I think. I had a couple of times where I went back, and then now since December I haven't touched it, and I have no intention of doing it for a couple of reasons that I'll get later. I'll get to later. But yeah, so that was quite something. So basically, from early May till early August, I did either no Japanese or a little bit of Japanese, trying to get myself back on track. So I kind of had like a 3 month period where I just like went down instead of going up, or even not even like staying straight, right? So it took a little bit to get back on track, and then to get back to whatever level I was in May, so I lost some progress because of that, but at least I'm back, and I'm enjoying it way more than I was before. Basically, it was a burnout. It's that simple. I was forcing myself to do things I didn't want to do for the sake of getting better, not like I had to think back to how I learned English and how I learned it by doing things I wanted to do, not doing things that would specifically make me better. Because I not once did I have the thought of, I want to get good at English. No, never. I just learned it by doing things in English. So basically, like at some point it clicked. I'm like, I have to do the same thing for Japanese. I can have the thought of, yes, I want to be better at Japanese, but I should still be just doing what I feel like doing, not what I feel like I should be doing, And this is like a big realization for me. Like, obviously, yeah, you know it, but there's a difference between knowing it and like actually like understanding like deep down inside why that's better. At least for me, like that was something that was hard to come to terms with. It was like having fun was some inefficient thing that should be avoided. I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. No, actually, I'm not getting ahead of myself. That was my next point. Because yeah, since then I just like immersed, and like I realized at first, like when I was back on track, I realized how important having fun is with immersion. But I was still not doing it. I understood it, but because, like I said, it was like I kind of ingrained it in myself that you couldn't be productive while having fun. That the whole no pain no gain thing, which is kind of, I mean, I understand it in the context of like working out, but that's not true for the context of language learning, like whatsoever. No pain and more gain, if anything, in a way. So yeah, it still took a couple of months. Actually, like I got a calendar. Like I'm pointing there because it's over there. You can't see it, but I got a big calendar that I can make like X's on the days. And in mid-March is when I started like kind of tracking in a way the days where my immersion was like following fun only. Like if I was doing something, it had to be because I found it fun. And if it stopped being fun, then I would have to stop, drop it, and then move on to whatever else sounded fun. So I guess you could say I started like putting it in effect in mid-March. I obviously can't say that I've been doing it every single day. There are days where I catch myself trying to do something because I think it's the efficient thing to do. But as a whole, like I'd say like maybe like 5 days a week on average from mid-March till now, May 2nd, May the 3rd, I think. Yeah, May 3rd. So, I'd say that's a great improvement. And also, like, because I'm having more fun, I want to do more Japanese. And not only I want to do more Japanese, but I'm doing more Japanese. And because of that, as a whole, it's actually more efficient to do the less efficient thing if that's what's fun for you. Because you end up doing more and you get more out of it. You're more focused because you're enjoying it. And, it's just better, it's just better. That's all I can say about it. Let me check what was next because I kind of forgot at this point. So yeah, basically the only thing I can say is that, you know, at some point, like, I realized I was like kind of forcing myself to read light novels, because I do enjoy light novels, but it's still at a point right now where I'm just like, I'm not like that's not what I want to do. I prefer to read manga right now, and I know I will have phases where I want to read light novels, but I shouldn't force myself to do that before it. So like, so far I've read 3.5 light novels, I think, volumes, and that's kind of when I like decided, you know, let's go back to manga, because that's what I feel like reading, and I've been having a lot of fun since then, and you know, it's been great. And another thing that I've realized also is that there's like, it's not a good thing to fully ban English. You can't really, like, I know the whole thing is all Japanese all the time, but you can't possibly force yourself to do only Japanese 100% of the time, you know? You're gonna have some pieces of media that you like that are in English but not in Japanese. And if you force yourself not to watch them, you can force yourself to reduce, absolutely, but not like eliminate it completely, at least in my opinion. So, or else it's going to lead to what happened to me, a burnout and doing only English stuff for 2 months. So now I actually allow myself to watch some English stuff. Like, there's a couple of English YouTubers that I enjoy and that I can't really find that sort of content in Japanese. So I allow myself to watch them, you know, as the videos come out. You know, give myself a time, usually at night when I've already done Japanese and I'm kind of just trying to relax a bit more. Then I'll watch those English videos and stay up to date with that, and it helps keep me sane. And I'm still doing a lot of Japanese before that, so, you know, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. And it does look like it's going to end up being close to a 30-minute video. I should not have said that at the beginning. Oh, well. And yeah, since I just want to mention also, since I've been mentioning, like, that I've been reading a lot of manga now, basically, like, so far, as of today, I've read 170 volumes of manga. All volumes that I own physically, because I hate reading manga on a screen. I don't like it. Like, if they'd like take the time to remove the text and then rewrite it on the computer so you can zoom in, it would be fine. But because that's not the case, if you try to zoom in, it's just like, it's all blurry. That's why reading manga in English didn't bother me, because, you know, people would remove the Japanese and type up the English, and because of that, it was like clear, you could zoom in and there was no problem. But it doesn't work when it's a scan, you know. So because of that, I really prefer reading physical releases. So yeah, that's basically what's been going on the past year and 4 months. Technically, the past 2 years and 4 months since I've talked about all of that. Yeah, one thing, I wasn't actually planning on doing this, but like I watched back my last video to get the bullet point list of what had happened in the first year, and I saw that I had made a spreadsheet. I completely forgot about that. I had made a spreadsheet where I took 100 sentences from like 5 different anime from my sentence bank, and then put them all in a spreadsheet, and then I sorted them by what was the sentences that were I plus 0, so that I understood 100% of it, then I plus 1 when there was only one thing that I didn't understand, and then the I plus 2, 3, 4 when there's multiple words that I didn't know. So I did that at the 9-month mark, and by doing that, I saw that I had, obviously only based on those 100 sentences, so it's not based on everything, just those 100 sentences from specifically anime, that I had a 69.8% comprehension. So that's at the 9 months mark. Then 3 months later, at the 1 year mark, I had 79% based on the same sentences again. I just went back through them and then moved them around based on what I knew. And when I saw that, I was like, why don't I try to do it for now at 2 years and 2 months, minus the 3 months of lost progress, but 2 years and 2 months. And I was like, it's probably not going to have changed all that much, because I lost a lot of progress, and I'm having a lot of focus issues this year, which I'll get to in a second when I talk about my goals. like maybe it'll be like at like in the mid 80s. But turns out I actually got 93.7%, so that's quite a big increase, like out of those sentences, everything that was in the I plus 2, 3, 4 sentence, like got removed from there entirely. There was not a single sentence in there that I didn't understand more than one word. That there was more than one word that I didn't understand. Yeah, that sounds better. So basically, everything is either I plus 0 or I plus 1 right now in that list. And there was only 21 sentences where I didn't understand a word, where there was a word that I didn't understand. My God, my English is whew. Okay. Yeah, there was 21 sentences that were I plus 1 basically, but there's a good amount of them where the word itself is like a word that's not common at all. Some of them they're common words that I just haven't learned yet, but there was a good amount of them that weren't that. Like for example, there was actually a sentence where there was 2 words that I didn't know, and so I had put it in I plus 2 at the time. But now I actually understood enough to know that these were just fictional train station names. Oh, maybe not fictional, but they were like the names of train stations. So like, no shit, I don't know those. I don't know train station names. So like, it makes sense, So that goes in I plus 0 because I understand the sentence. I just don't know what those train stations are, But back then I did not realize that. I was just like, oh, that's 2 words and I have no idea what it means. So that actually like showed me a lot of improvement, that I could tell what the thing that I didn't understand was, if that makes sense. So yeah, that was nice. So okay, that's been going on for a long time already. I have 2 specific goals for next year, but they're not they're not specific, but I have specific goals, Anyways, the first goal is the same as last year, actually. I have been shit. I'm not gonna hide. I've been shit as far as being doing a regular new Anki cards. I still have not gotten around to doing that properly. Like, I'm 2 years and 4 months into the process, and I only have about 2,800 sentence cards, which is fine and all since I'm doing immersion, but like at the end of the day, the point of doing Anki is to speed up the process, right? So, like, I should do it to speed up the process. That's all there is to it. So that's something I really want to fix. Like, I want to build the habit properly of making new cards, even if it's not whatever my goal amount is. Even if I do just 1 card a day on days where I normally would do 0, then let's say like there's probably like easily 200 days where I didn't do any cards. Okay, this year, let's put it that way: 200 days where I didn't make cards, and then I made like 1,800 cards or something like that. I think this year, 1,800. Well, add those 200 days. If I had done 1 card, then 1,800 would have become 2,000. It's not a big difference, but it's still more. So that's basically what I want to do. Get in the habit of doing at least 1, and then I can increase that number to 2 or 3 and whatever. And then you get into the momentum, and sometimes you'll make like 10 cards when you intended originally on making only 1, or even more originally 0. So that's the first goal. The second goal is, like I mentioned, my focus has been absolutely horrible the past year. I can't focus. Like right now, I think I keep looking there just because I'm completely unable to focus. I'm just looking at it so I can remember what I'm trying to say. So yeah, I want to really focus. I want to focus on improving my focus. Nice one. But yeah, I have actually, like, I've made a 5-part plan. A 5-part plan. That sounds nice. A 5-part plan on how to fix it. I've already accomplished the first step, which was to actually quit drinking energy drinks, because one, they're horrible for you, and 2, it was, that was a big source of why my focus was horrible. So I did that a month ago, and so now I'm a month without getting any sort of energy drinks, and just that I've seen a good amount of improvement, even though I'm still not doing great. So yeah, that's the first part. The second part is just to have a better sleep hygiene as a whole. I want to get blackout curtains to block the light better, and I want to get a better pillow. I actually already ordered one from. There was a like a memory foam with an angle, so that if you're sleeping on your side, you can have like, the pillow is gonna actually hold your neck, and then if you're on your back, the other side is shorter, so there's less of a gap, I guess. And I've already ordered that. I just don't have it yet. And I've also started using earplugs every single night. That way I don't get woken up by sound, and that's been actually like helping a lot. Just that. And the last part of that is like building the habit of doing my night routine, because I have a night routine where I'm like, dim the lights and watch some relaxing anime or ASMR or something like that. And then dim the lights even more, turn off all the computers and electronics, and read something, like read a book for like half an hour to an hour, which right now I'm reading the Barakamon manga, making sure it's something relaxing and mostly simple. That way my eyes have a chance to like disconnect from screens and all that, and that's all gonna make it easier for me to fall asleep, and also like tell my body, hey, he's doing that routine and it's time to sleep, time to get tired. So that should help me fall asleep faster and get better sleep. And obviously I don't think I have to tell anyone why having better sleep is a good idea for my focus and just for life in general. Third point, or part, is that I have a lot of money related stress. Like I have debts to pay, and like having a hard time to pay bills because of that, and kind of like, anyways, the money stress. I think a lot of you can probably relate to being stressed about money. So what I've actually done for that is that I'm moving back to my mom's place, moving in 2 weeks actually, from now. So that's gonna help me a lot in terms of money. I'll be able to aggressively pay back my debts, and save money, and also save money for a specific Japan related plan that I have in the future. So yeah, so obviously that's gonna be a big change. And then my diet. I've talked in previous videos about wanting to eat a whole food plant-based diet, and I'm not a doctor. I'm not telling you that's what you should do. I'm just based on my own research. That's what I think I should do. If you don't agree, that's fine. But in the past year, I've actually been eating like horribly, ordering junk food and buying like frozen pizzas and crap like that. Not doing that whatsoever. And I've gained back like most of the weight that I had originally lost, which sucks. But that's how it goes. Stress eating is a thing, sadly. Yeah, so I want to like, once I've moved and I have better sleep hygiene and my money related stress reduces, it should be a lot easier to get back on track with that. And on top of that, like at my mom's, she doesn't live anywhere near a grocery store, so I'll be stuck having to go with her by car. So if, like, because of that, I don't have an easy way of going to buy junk food since there's nothing nearby. So I'll be stuck with whatever I bought when I went grocery shopping, which is going to help me a lot, because a lot of my issue is that I'll have good food, but then I'll just walk to the grocery store and buy something bad, because it's literally 2 minutes of walking from my place. So that should help also and make it a lot easier, The whole thing about changing your environment instead, well, that's kind of what's that going to be doing. It's going to help with my diet and my money. And the last and most important, like in terms of helping my focus, at least it's the most important, is going to be meditation. I've already talked about that. Matt has talked about that a lot, and that's how I got into the idea of meditation. But yeah, that's something I want to get back into. Just not right now, because if I try to do too many things at once, I know I'm going to quit all of them. So the first step, energy drink, done. I don't even have to think about it anymore. I rarely get any sort of like cravings for it. There's specific places that I get cravings for it when I go there, so I try to avoid those places, and that's that. Sleep hygiene is something I'm currently already working on. Money is kind of gonna happen by itself, so I don't even have to think about it. I do have to think about it, but like, you know, just by the fact that I won't have to pay rent, it's gonna help a hell of a lot. And then once I move, I want to start focusing on my diet. For now, I'm still just, you know, taking it easy, trying not to stress too much and focus on Japanese. But once I move, I'll be able to focus on that. And then once all of that is, you know, had all of those habits have been built, then I'll be able to start meditation and like build the proper habit. Like maybe I'll meditate here and there once. It does happen once in a while. Just go and sit for like 10 minutes and get everything cooled down. But I don't want to like focus on it until I'm ready for it. Yeah, so this was definitely over 30 minutes. So that's not what I wanted, but whatever, you know, I had a lot on my mind to get out. And I think it's important anyways for people watching to realize that if you're struggling, that's totally fine. Take it easy. Just try to do it one step at a time and, you know, go in the right direction. That's basically it. So I've definitely forgotten some stuff. So if you have any sort of question, just leave a comment. I'm gonna answer any of them really. And I hope everything goes well in the next year, and I hope you get to make some progress too. So that'll be it for this video. See ya.